nonsense and the chaos. Wicked witches. Trusting the unknown. Welcome to the Nonsense in the Chaos. I'm your host, Jolie Rose. Today's interview is so exciting because I did know, but I had forgotten that Roz Rolls was going to be back in Sark when I got back from Glastonbury. And we spent Sunday night hanging out with each other. She came over for dinner. And then it occurred to me that I could interview her while she was here for Nonsense in the Chaos. And she was able to do it on the Monday night. And then that means I've been able to get it out this week. It's extremely exciting because she is one of the coolest people I've ever met. We met round a fire at the Nook in Sark, which is our little special fire pit that's like a communal fireplace that we can all hang out under the stars where we can watch the sunset. And I met her and it was like being in a sacred circle with elders, which I've had the privilege of doing a few times. And I just fell in love with her and it was such an inspiring conversation. She really knows her stuff on a spiritual and political level and scientific level. She knows about things. And I just loved talking to her. And I had no idea what we were going to talk about or which direction it was going to go in, but I knew it was going to be awesome. And she didn't let me down. So it's actually quite a long podcast, but I hope you will enjoy it. And I can't wait to share it with you. So with no further delay, here is the awesome Roz Rolls. Excellent. So here we are. I'm here on Sark and I'm interviewing my friend Roz, Roz Rolls.
Yeah.
She just like that, yes.
Yeah.
And Roz is an old friend who lived in Sark before I moved here and then left just as I moved over, which I was really gutted about.
Yeah, I reckon. Yes.
And she's gone back to New Zealand, which is where you're from.
Yeah, it is.
So tell us a bit about how you ended up. Well, tell us where you're from and how you ended up in Sark.
Yeah. Oh, I'm from New Zealand, from in the Cook Islands. My family's from the Cook Islands too. But yeah, mostly from Christchurch, New Zealand, or also grew up in Wellington. But yeah, I was just working and travelling around the world. And I ended up stopping in Guernsey. And that's how I sort of got introduced to Sark. And then, yeah.
What set you off travelling around the world in the first place? What was the reason to?
I was so curious about the world.
Yeah.
And living on New Zealand, you're quite isolated.
Yeah.
And I was just really wanted to get out and see. And where I was living was a bit of a hole. And I was just dying to leave, actually, dying to leave New Zealand. But yeah, just to explore the world.
Mountain, is that right?
Yeah, my nana's a Cook Islander.
Yeah.
So she's from the Cook Islands. Yeah. And my dad. So just a Pākehā Kiwi. Yeah.
Because I remember you saying when I met you, because I met you around the fire at the Nook.
Yes.
Awesome. And we had a really amazing night. And he talks about, and if you don't want to talk about this, that's fine. It was something you told me at the time, which was that your family were all black and then you have very white skin.
Yeah.
And so you had quite a different sort of experience growing up to your relations in that you were white.
Yeah.
And so you kind of wanted to get to know the world of the white people a bit more and understand culture a bit more of the white people. Is that?
Yeah, well, it's sort of right, but it's I did, like, my family is multicultural, so but yeah, definitely a lot of them are a lot darker than I am, and then I grew up, especially as a teenager in Porirua, and that a lot of Māori Polynesian people, and I was good friends with them, but then but that's actually I moved there when I was a teenager to Wellington. And up until that stage, like living in Christchurch as a younger kid, a lot of people were all mixed blood. I didn't even know about racism. I didn't even know it existed.
Yeah.
And then I lived in the Cook Islands for a bit, and that was awesome, And got to learn a lot more about the island side of my whānau, of my family. And then I moved to Porirua in Wellington, and there was just this huge class and cultural divide.
Yeah.
I had never even knew that happened, and there was a lot of like Maori Polynesian probably living in states houses, and then there was a lot of wealthy white people living in more rich areas, you know. Yeah, and there was all this some racism and like, oh, you know, the fucking Pākehās or this white bitch and all this, and I was really conflicted because a lot of my friends were all Māori Polynesian, but you know, so I was sort of with all this group, but at the same time I was feeling very Pākehā with the way I looked. And then sometimes I'd be like, oh, you know, don't say that, and they'd be like, oh no, don't worry, you know. I'd say, oh, don't say that, you know, I'm white. They'd be like, oh no, you're not really, you're raro. But that was, well, you wouldn't know looking at me, you know. So yeah, so that was really conflicting, and also at the same time, on the new, like from school, we're learning about the colonization and all these terrible things that the English did. So it made me really angry at English people, made me really angry at French people because of all the nuclear testing in the Pacific and all that.
Yeah.
So as a teenager, and then I was, you know, sort of angry. I didn't want to know, I didn't really have any interest in that side of my heritage because I seen it as quite negative, you know. But yeah, and there was a lot of probably negative things going on at the time, so that's why I just couldn't wait to leave. But it wasn't until I came, and eventually I ended up living in Ireland, in Dublin, and most of my ancestry is from Ireland. And I was suddenly like, oh, this is beautiful. And the people were lovely. The culture, I was like, oh, this is nothing to be ashamed of. And then I ended up living in the UK or living here and living in France and realizing that it's not really the people. It's, you know, the system. It's the system, and people here, like the Europeans, were colonized many years before and suppressed of their, you know, traditions and understandings. And it's just a cycle that's been repeated. And then came and obviously happened to New Zealand and a lot of the colonies. Yeah. So it was really eye-opening for me, you know, to understand, oh, it's just another cycle. So it was really healing, you know, and I could let go of all that sort of stuff and be real proud of everything, all my ancestry, you know, and just think all those years of burning witches or whatever they've done.
Well, and the Saxons, because we had the two tiers. It's interesting being here because this is where the Normans came from.
Yeah.
This is part of the Norman William the Conqueror's land.
Yep.
And the Normans created, you know, a two-tier caste system in the UK where you had the Saxons who spoke Saxon, and that's why you have a different word for pig to pork, which was the French word, which is what the rich people ate.
Yeah.
The poor people didn't get to eat the meat. The poor people reared the meat.
Oh, yeah.
So for them, it was pig and cow and chicken.
Yeah.
And then for the French, it was and beef. So there was two languages. I think up until that point, it had been a lot more of a like mishmash of kings, of different kings. And you had Pendragons and different tribes. And then with William the Conqueror, it became like he was in charge of the whole place.
Oh, wow.
And yeah, so there was that French caste system that came in. And even now, and they spoke Latin. And so, you know, rich, wealthy people have been speaking Latin for ages, and the poor people didn't even know what the Bible was really saying. It was just being translated to them by the priest caste.
Yeah, that's right. Crazy
so
times.
Mad. It is so mad.
Yeah.
So we've all been colonised. Unless you're one of the wealthy, then at some point your people had their land taken from them. And
a lot of their culture suppressed or stripped away, and the knowledge. All of those things.
Yeah, and your tribe, like several tribes, they forgot all of it.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, well, at least in New Zealand they keep the name of the tribe.
You know that.
But then I guess it wasn't so long ago.
No, exactly.
It's only the 1840s, really. So,
a thousand years ago. It's William the Conqueror's birthday this year. I think we're about to start doing William the Conqueror like Norman celebrations over here. And it's 1,000 years since his birth.
Okay.
So it's been 1,000 years since we were colonised. So knowledge has been forgotten.
And is that the British Isles that were colonised by
William the Conqueror? Like the king died in England, and he'd done quite a good job of sort of uniting with the lords and the other kings. So he did sort of become kind of a head king.
Yeah.
But he didn't have a clear succession. And so there was a few people that were contenders, and one of them was Harold, who at some point had promised William that he would give him the crown of England if ever it came his way. And he'd sworn on a saint's bones over in France at some point. And so when the king before died, I can't remember what his name was, William was like, well, I should be getting the throne. And it was probably the most epic battle in the whole of human history, in that Harold had like gone and fought his brother up north, and it was this crazy fight where one guy is a myth, I think, but one guy like held a bridge for hours on his own, and then someone sneaked up underneath the bridge and stuck a spear up through his leg because he was just like slaughtering everyone who came past. And they done that and won that, and then heard that William had landed down south, and they had to leg it from the north when they down south to try and fight down in the south. And the Normans were just much more by that point like efficient fighters. They had horses, they used horses, whereas the Saxons were way more like old school, just charging in with axes and that kind of thing. The Normans did shield protection like the Romans used to do, and they were just much more. They had castles.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. The Saxons were all in wooden huts and stuff, so they just seemed like AI to. It was like people coming in with tanks and
and that was only 1,000 years ago. It's not even that long. It's like when you think about it, like how many generations?
Yeah. And then in the 1800s, there was the Land Enclosures Act. So there used to be common land where people used to be able to farm and keep their animals. And then one day the rich just went, I'm putting a fence up. And they just put fences up and said it was now theirs.
Yeah.
And the common people tried to fight against it. And there was a group called the Levellers, which is, do you know the band?
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah.
What they're named after was this group of men and women who fought against the land enclosures. And they were children. It was a whole community of people. And they carried on farming. And some people who had been paid, some mercenaries, were there on the horseback, and they ran through them, and they just said, we don't want to kill you, but we've been paid to kill you. We're here. We have to kill you if you don't stop. And they refused to stop, and so they came back through and killed them all, chopped them up and tarred their bodies so that they could like put them on sticks, and they paraded around all of the neighbouring towns and villages with these body parts and said, this is what happens if you don't do as you're told.
Yeah.
And that's when we lost our land. And up until that point, the earth was everybody's.
Yeah.
And then from then onwards, it was closed, and then only footpaths connect. You still got footpaths, but that's it. Otherwise, land's all owned and carved up.
Oh man!
And that was the 1800s. That was like 1700s. I think it was late 1700s, early 1800s.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that almost sounds like a similar story to Parihaka in New Zealand.
Right, what happened
That's
there?
what happened.
What's the story of what happened there?
I have to remember the exact details, but I know it was very similar where the Māori were farming the land and the Pākehā were taken off them. And whether I think the Māori were kept putting up the fences so that they could have their crops in there, but they would keep getting destroyed, and then they would keep putting them up. And it was like a peaceful protest. They weren't even, that's what it's famous for. And then the English armies would take away all the men and put them in caves. And then the women and children would come and do the same. But pretty much similar, it just, it wasn't.
Yeah. It's the thing that I keep coming back to at the moment, and I keep trying to get across to younger people, is that it's all made up.
Yeah.
This is all made up. Someone at some point decided this is the way things are, and then laws were written to support it.
Yeah.
And that's it.
That's right.
That's how we now are governed.
Yeah.
But it's not real.
No. And we're just inhirting these things and thinking that it's the way it is.
True.
Yeah, I know, it's crazy.
And also that wealthy people are like some other breed of people, like as if there's something different. And that's been the thing that's been so interesting moving here and living and working, and especially being in chief police in amongst like really, really wealthy people.
Yeah.
And just being like, oh, you're absolutely normal, which I know is completely obvious, but they're so in the news and on media and everything. They're so what's the word, fetishized, like Downton Abbey, or there's always these series that people watch that are just like, oh, rich people are this thing, and here's their values and and they seem different, but when you actually are really in amongst each other on a day-to-day basis, you're like, no, you're absolutely just the same as me, and you just inherited a way of being. And then what I've been sad about, because I was initially quite impressed by that, I was like, oh, that's really cool. And then people have ended up being such dickheads. But you literally have had generation after generation. And even if you're new to it, you've come into this world where, I'm watching a TV show at the moment called Harlots, which I love. And it came out in probably 2018, 2019. And I loved it then. I hadn't seen it since.
Yeah.
And it's of the prostitutes in the 1700s. And I think the 1700s was probably one of the hardest times in history, because you still had all the, superstitions and torture and diseases of the medieval times. So
Yeah.
everyone had pox and were getting hung, drawn, and quartered, and people believed in witchcraft and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
But you had a lot of modern technology because it was just coming into the industrial age. So they
Yeah.
were using like modern weapons, but that medicine hadn't caught up yet.
Mm.
So there was a lot of it was muck of the Industrial Revolution, but it hadn't, we didn't have flushing water or anything, everything was just kind of gross. And these prostitutes, like, it was such a huge thing. So many women were prostitutes because that was the only option they had. But they were being treated like appallingly.
Oh, yeah.
And you just watching this show, you're just like, this is what rich people think they can do and how they can behave, because they just see other human beings, and it's like slavery.
Yeah.
They see other humans just as a commodity.
Yeah.
And to be able to get into that mindset where you can treat people that badly when you are all the same, means that you have put yourself into some kind of place in your head that thinks that you can do that.
Yeah.
It's pretty horrifying. But yeah, I think probably slavery had a lot to do with it, actually, because there's always been slavery.
Yeah.
Like, that's as old as time.
Yeah, that's right.
It used to be, I think, more people that you'd been at war with, people you'd battled with, you'd take prisoners and people would be made slaves and stuff. But the level of doing it that was happening in the 1800s, where it was just become a huge industry.
Yeah.
You just have to have lost your humanity to some extent to have done all of that.
Absolutely,
And that's what made half these people all the money that they've got.
Yes, exactly.
So, the blood of other people.
Yeah, that's right, eh?
It's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what did you feel like you learnt from coming to Europe? And
I learned so much. Like, at that first stage when I moved to Dublin, I really felt home there, and it really made me proud of my my European heritage. And and I loved it, and it became my home. And I lived in France and other places after that, but often I'd go back to Ireland feeling home. And then eventually, years later, I moved to Sark, and this became like a home away from, it's been beautiful. But living here, it was, by the time I came here, I had 3 kids already.
Yeah.
So I was a bit more grounded than just travelling and working and all that sort of thing. And I was getting really into gardening and plants. And Sark is just incredible for, the wild plants of the British Isles that you get to see here, and of north of France and that. So I was just learning so much, and started learning a lot about the Celtic traditions and that, which I didn't know anything about up until then. And and studying permaculture as well, which was all combined with that. But it was really amazing because I just saw so many correlations and similarities with Te Ao Māori and their understanding of how everything's interconnected. And in Te Ao Māori, we understand, which is Te Ao Māori means the worldview, Māori worldview, and Te Ao was the universe. And Te Ao Māori is the worldview from Māori, and they understand Mother Earth as Papa Tūnuku, Ranganui is Sky Father, and the spirit of Māori is the spirit of life that's in everything and everyone and all this. And and it was so beautiful. And the more I learned about all these Celtic traditions, I saw, there's so many beautiful, a lot of understandings. Even the stars that they were looking at, even though we're on the other side of the world, were similar.
Similar stories.
Yeah, similar stories, like Pleiades, which is our Matariki.
Yeah.
The 7 sisters.
Yeah.
Yeah, because that, those old Greek mythologies, where those sisters, they're sisters, those stars, in a Māori, in the most common stories of Matariki, they're also sisters, but each...
And they are in Australia as well.
Yeah,
so,
isn't it interesting?
In the mountains, they have the 7 sisters.
Oh, right. And it's the same constellation?
Yeah, it's the same constellation.
Yeah, isn't it interesting how they get this female... And in some of the Māori, and especially some that are more... also, because each tribe had their different stories.
Yeah.
Some of them, they're not all women, but they do always tend to represent, each star represents a, whether it's a different aspect, whether it could be Pūtakawa, the star is the goddess of the underworld. And often Pūtakawa trees are growing on the cliff, and they've got their long, winding roots that go down into down the cliff, and that was seen as the way that people's spirits might go to the underworld.
Oh, wow.
And then you have other stars that are to represent kai moana, seafood, food from the sea, or food from freshwater, or food from the forest, and all these different stars. Or some will be about rain and storms, and they would watch these stars when they rose in the they used to rise, well, actually, in New Zealand, the shortest day, our midwinter solstice is like June 20, opposite to
the
here.
opposite. Yeah, June 20th.
Yeah. And for the Māori people, this is their new year.
Uh-huh.
Surprise, surprise. The end of one cycle, the beginning of a new. And this was the time of the Matariki stars rising, because they, in late March, they start to set, or late May it is, they start to set and you don't see them for a bit. And they start to rise again around this time of Matariki. And that's when they would be studied for this week of Matariki. And they would look, and if the constellation was very clear, it might be a good year. And if one particular part of it, like say the freshwater food star was very clear, it could be a real good season for freshwater food.
Oh, wow.
Or if it was really fuzzy, it might be, a bad year for, so this is how they would predict their year coming. Wow. And it would also be the time when they'd start preparing their their fields for the kumara, which is the sweet potato, which was something that they brought with them to New Zealand, as amazing voyages they were, which they would have traded with South America. So they knew the Pacific. They knew that Pacific. They were back and forth and all around. And
it's mad. So do you know how long ago that was that they came
to New Zealand? Is it? I'd need to check. Is it like 10,000 or... No, maybe not. It's a few thousand years ago. I would have to check.
Because I feel like
7,000
keeps getting older and older.
Australia's ancient.
Yeah.
Definitely. But I would have to look on, I have to look on my...
Because it's so mad, because we clearly did... I mean, I think there's something about either the stories, either we're picking up the same thing, or there was a connection, and the stories can sort of like show us where our travels went. You see what I mean? Because if we've got these connecting stories, then there must be some older connection between us that we were all together at one point and went off with these stories.
Yeah, exactly.
Or we are picking it up from the energy that they're giving off or whatever.
That's right. Yeah, because the more they understand, like with the Polynesian travels, because at first, when we were at school learning history, it was like Captain Cook discovered New Zealand, and you never really heard much about what happened with the Māori people. These people were on a little waka and they came to the land, like whoop-de-doo. But actually, it was incredible.
I mean, it's more incredible to have come to a tiny little planet.
And they weren't even that tiny. They were these massive big catamarans that they would prepare for months in advance. And they used to like husk all these coconuts, and the woman would make all these amazing massive big nets out of the pandanus, which is like a plant that grows in the islands, the Pacific Islands. And they used to make these massive big nets and fill them with coconuts to bring behind the waka, or the waka. In Cook Island, they would say waka. And and then the woman would have to fast before they went on these voyages so that their stomach would shrink and they'd be lighter.
Oh, wow.
Which I was quite surprised. I thought they'd be eating because then they were about to fast. But no, they used to fast. Wow. And I guess the men kept eating because they might have to paddle. Yeah. But they did also harness the wind. I fast before I go on pilgrimages, so I have to carry so much weight. Oh, well,
so everything I carry, I'm having to carry.
Yes, that's
my
right.
Body.
Yeah, well, that's what they did. So, I mean, And they were even having arranged marriages between different islands because they understood the importance of like a fresh gene pool and all that. Yeah. So,
that's really cool.
So they were pretty onto it, and they knew all the star navigation, and they had stories about the way the stars would set, and that's, the way they'd go.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. I heard about being able to read water as well. There's a book that I'm reading by Tristan Gooley. Yeah. And they would be able to tell by the behaviour of the sea how close they were to islands or to land, because the way the waves were, the like patterns on the sea.
Oh, yeah.
So they could read the water and tell like if they were near.
They dip the bullocks into the water. Seriously, I've heard the story.
It's lovely as well sitting outside here with you, because you planted all this garden, didn't you?
Yeah, I know a lot of it, especially all the fruit. Yeah, a lot of the older, what do you call ornamentals were here. Yeah, but pretty much, and a lot of all that new stuff down there, the food forest and.
Talk a little bit about permaculture, because some people might not know what that is, but it's such an amazing.
Yeah, it's awesome, mate. Yeah, well, permaculture is a design philosophy that looks at traditional and indigenous ways of land management, or even ideas, and interwoven with like new scientific research and stuff. And also where nature is our greatest teacher, looking at natural systems and looking at how nature works, and using all these tools to help design, whether it could be our land or business. It could be used for multiple different things. Building your house, you could use it. So it offers 3 core ethics, like at the heart of permaculture, which is care for the earth, care for the people, and care for the future. And that's the heart of permaculture. And that's almost like, I guess permaculture could be described as a big open vessel that can hold a multitude of different ideas and techniques and, frameworks. But those 3 core ethics acts as the filter. So if it sort of ticks those boxes, it could be part of permaculture, because it could be something to do with green building design or social systems design or land design, so it's very varied, or car design or whatever it could be. So that's the main thing. And then there's 12 guiding principles to help you through the design process. And are things like, one of the most important is observe and interact. So just observing our natural world and learning from it. And things like produce no waste, use and value renewable resources, use and value diversity, integrate rather than segregate. Yeah. And so,
that's interesting, because we're going to try and put together an island plan for Sark.
And
I think, for me, that's the thing that feels the most key, because I think part of the reason why we keep having problems here is that we don't have a vision. And so it means that other people can come in and try and put their vision on us. Whereas if we were like, this is what we are, then anyone coming up, it's like, well, do you fit in with our plan? No, you don't. Well, then we're not interested in what you're saying and what you're doing. So it just gives us that, because at the moment things keep happening at us and we say no. But it's like, but what are we saying yes to? What's the yes? And it needs to come from all of us. Because obviously there's things that I think it could be or should be, but I can't make everyone else agree with that if that's not what they think. So we need to create it together. And then see what it is that we all value about the island, and what it is that we can be what's our role in the world? What can we be a shining light?
Beautiful,
So I want to try and help us create a plan where we do that in that kind of way, more in a permaculture type way, because I think we've had a few things that have been done before where people have come in and done like reports and have told us like, this is how much water you've got, this is how much this and that you've got, here's the weaknesses, here's the strengths. And we've had about 4 or 5 of them, but they just go in a drawer and nothing really happens, or like some things happen but then they tail off. And I feel like it needs to be more of a creative and inspiring thing, that we can be like, this is what we're about. And then it can be on all of our literature, all of the everything. That's what the school's doing. That's what the housing is doing. That's what the tourism's doing. And we're just all on the same page. So that's the thing I want to try and do here before I don't know if I leave the government or whatever, but like that's what I want to do before I leave.
Awesome. Good on you. That would be great. That's a good idea
to get some permaculture people involved in that. Cool.
Definitely.
Find out ways of. Good to try and get you involved, but you won't be here. You'll be at the sign as well. I'll zoom you in or something.
I reckon.
So shall we do a card?
Sure.
So you can actually shuffle the cards, which doesn't normally happen.
Okay.
So if you shuffle the card.
I was just looking at that. So they arrived. The Māori arrived in the 13th century. Between 1250 and 13.
Oh, okay. That's more recent than I thought.
So
was anyone there before?
So that's about 800 years. The Māoriori.
Right.
Which were another Polynesian tribe. And then there's even tales of these short red-haired people.
Oh, wow.
And, some people say there's like deep under mounds, there's some old stone circles.
Oh, wow.
And there's even some Māori tribes that do have this red hair thing going on, so whether they interbred with these people.
Oh, wow. So you think that's like maybe a Celtic-y...
Possibly. I mean, you never know who else could have got there on a ship. I mean, or a boat, or, I'm sure there would have been other travellers out there.
Yeah,
so I'm not sure, and it's interesting because, we don't know much about that, and years and years ago I watched a documentary and it seemed there was all these things, like all this information coming up, and our government sort of like wasn't going to release any information.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, especially this, where they thought this could be this underground, a bit like the Aztec sort of pyramid thing under this wall. But anyway, it was all closed, so I don't know. But so I don't know anything, so there's just some tales, but the redhead is definitely there.
That's really cool.
With some tribes.
Yeah. Or Neanderthal as well, because Neanderthal was meant to be where the redhead gene comes from. I don't know if that's true, but I mean, that's a possibility as well. So it might have been even older.
Yeah, so you never know who was there. But I mean, I think the land itself is definitely quite young.
Yeah.
And that's obvious through like, just the, just I guess like, the type of trees and the depth of soil and that sort of thing. And
so
that
it's a recent like tectonic plate.
Yeah, I think it like in the whole, I mean, they do say it sort of broke off Australia and all that sort of thing. But then also it's continuously pushing up. It's like two plates just pushing up out of the sea.
Right.
And it's sort of twisting and pushing. That's why we have so much earthquakes and volcanoes and
that's cool.
Yeah.
A young, active life.
Yeah.
Okay. Give that a shuffle.
All righty.
And so this isn't a reading, it's just the universe telling us what we're going to talk about.
Okay, cool.
So I'll go and you just pick a card.
Okay, I'll go for this.
Excellent. What we got there? Truce.
So
that's an interesting one. And that's kind of feels a bit like what we've been talking about how to find peace in yourself with all the different parts.
Yeah.
And how we do create truce in a world that is currently at war.
Yeah.
What's your feeling on that? What do you think
I think
an answer to what's your answer to what's going on in the world at the moment?
Well, I actually think, this is quite interesting because I think this is probably one of the most important things I think in my mind is, I guess, truce. I wouldn't have thought of that word, but, like unity or people coming together. Because I see so much is out to divide and create polarization.
Yeah.
Everything's extreme left or extreme right or rich or poor, there's a lot of extremities.
Yeah.
And as long as we're divided, we're easy to control and manipulate and feeling isolated.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
so I think it's the most important thing for us to come together and see our commonalities because there's a lot more common things, We're all people, we all love each other, we love to eat and drink and, be merry and dance and sing and all of that. I think everyone loves to, and get together. So, definitely. I think it's so important. So how do we do it? I think forgiveness is probably the hugest thing. It was my greatest lesson in life was forgiveness. Yeah, definitely. And because I think if you're holding grudges against someone, you're never going to be free. You're always going to be holding that weight. Yeah. And
even in yourself, like I did a thing once where I went to a Vipassana or meditated for 10 days.
Yeah.
And I really because you could, if you wanted to, you could go to your room and meditate for bits of it. And I did like a couple of sessions where I did that. And you ended up just sort of staring out the window. But time went so much slower than if you were actually meditating. Yeah. So it was easier to go in the hall and sit and meditate around other people because then you didn't, wander off and just start staring. So just sat and meditated. And we were doing 14 hours a day meditation for 10 days.
Yeah. Wow.
And all the way through, I had this pain in my shoulder. It felt like 3 prongs going through my shoulders, like 1 point at the front and 3 at the back. And no matter what I did, I couldn't loosen it or get rid of it.
Yeah.
It was all the tension from my body had oozed down my back like melting wax. And then this was the last thing that was left.
Wow.
And on the last day, it was I think it was the last meditation. It was an hour that we were all doing together. And I was like, do you know what? You can do whatever you want. You can sit here and think, you've done 10 days meditating. And I just sort of let my brain just go. And I went off and started thinking about this situation I'd had where me and my ex-partner had been wrongly accused of something.
Yeah.
And it ended up really blowing up way out of control and it had become a bit of a witch hunt.
Yeah.
And it was quite a good lesson for moving here because it was a small community that happened in. It was at the Tudor reenactment that I work at with Cara.
Yeah, nice.
And it was over nothing. It was over a coat. It was ridiculous. But it had, people had gone to their grave not liking me. Who had wrongly been told information about me. And it really, really hurt.
Yeah.
And I've, in this moment, just relived the whole experience as if I was in a movie. I remembered every single second of it and I relived the whole thing. And I got to the end of it and I was so full of anger. I was furious.
Yeah.
And then I went, and there's nothing you can do about it. It was years later and it was just there's nothing you can do about it. And I breathed out and my shoulder just unclipped.
Wow.
And it was I literally had a chip in my shoulder. And it was so good because it was just it's gone.
Yeah.
So that forgiveness doesn't have to be sort of literal where you're because, some things are, that in ways that was unforgivable. It was rubbish. It was really rubbish that had happened. But it's still, all it's doing is damaging you.
Yeah, that's it.
You're holding it in
You
yourself
hold it. And
it.
the person that you're angry at
They don't care.
They don't even know.
Everyone's
Yeah.
doing it.
And then it's
Exactly.
almost like they've won as long as you're holding on because it's,
Yeah, they've won while you're holding on.
Yeah,
Exactly.
that's
Yeah, I
it.
let
So
go,
just-
and now it doesn't.
yeah.
They don't. You know, I still see them, and it
Yeah.
doesn't. There's nothing there now. They
Yeah.
don't bother me.
no, that's it. And
Yeah,
then it's
you're
like,
free.
yeah, exactly. So yeah, I think,
Yeah.
and I think with everything that's going on in the world, I mean, I think there's probably got to be justice for,
Yeah.
because it's
some
hard to forgive if there's still injustice going on
Yeah.
because it's right in your face, and how can you,
Yeah.
you know, that, I mean, maybe people can, and that's a real,
Yeah.
takes a high
Yeah.
character to be able to do that. But yeah, hopefully we can see some justice, and then the big job would be getting forgiveness
Yeah.
to like help cleanse. Because I mean, I just think of certain places now in war where there's so much like
Yeah.
generational.
Generation. I mean,
Generation and
we're talking over
generation
1,000 years, because that was the
tension and-
Crusaders was what the conquerors went off and did. So after William the Conqueror came to England,
Yeah.
it was the Norman Knights who then went off and did the Holy Wars.
Oh, did
in
that? It was the
Jerusalem.
same guy. Yeah.
And that's 1,000 years ago.
Yeah.
This is so old.
Yeah.
You know, this is so old, this war.
It is
It's
so
just
old.
crazy.
Yeah.
And yeah, how to forgive and move on. And you know, I think about after the Second World War and all the horror that happened then,
Yeah.
there was so many amazing things that happened afterwards when people realised how bad things have got and what
Yeah.
people had done.
Yeah.
And that's where the NHS came from. That's where social housing came
Oh,
from.
yeah.
When people there was no money, the country had no money, and it was destroyed. It'd been bombed to pieces.
Yeah.
And from a place of no money, they created social housing in the NHS. This whole story of like
Wow,
needing
interesting.
money is like,
Yeah.
it came from zero money. It came from
Yeah.
the darkest hour.
Yeah.
And we were able to create it then. So
Interesting.
yeah,
Yeah.
anything about it being money, probably sick is like, that's just nonsense.
Yeah.
And so at some point, when a truce does happen, because fascism can't last, because fascism is all about blaming other people.
Yeah.
But at some point, if you get your way and it's just you guys,
Yeah.
you're going to just suddenly realise that you still are angry and
Yeah.
everything's still shit. Well, this is, I brought myself with me. And I'm a dick.
Yeah.
Yeah. And not only am I a dick, but I just did loads of really horrible things.
Yeah.
Like, how do you create a
Yeah.
utopia from that? Like,
Yeah.
That's not a place of
Yeah.
beauty.
No, right. Yeah.
So it can't ever last that long.
No.
Because at some point, I think like 20, 30 years is the longest it's ever lasted.
Yeah.
And we're 5 years into it.
Yeah.
It's normally shorter than that.
Yeah.
So at some point, people are like, hang on a minute, this is not right.
Hmm.
But it's just how dark has it got to get before, you know, and it's been very dark in the past. So it's
Yeah.
just hoping that it doesn't go that.
Yeah. 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 It's
Yeah.
pretty crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's so
definitely.
global. I mean, I know it was a world war last time, but it feels like it's involving more. It
Mm.
feels more World War-y this time. Because
Yeah.
everyone's dragged into it by some degree.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a pretty crazy time.
Yeah, it is crazy times, but I think you're totally right. It's forgiveness.
Yeah, definitely, for us to be able to, and hopefully, like, yeah, like you say, it was like what you're saying when before William Conqueror comes 1,000 years ago, we had free land and all this
Yeah.
sort of thing,
Yeah.
and we've all sort of been, I guess, conditioned into believing that we're all part of the system, and these people tell us what to do, and then we have to do it.
Yeah.
But actually, I feel like, personally, you know, I'm more and more. I just see politics now, and I'm quite disgusted.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter what side of the
No, exactly.
thing. I think they're all just.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't even go there because it's just so.
Yeah.
But I think it's almost for us to just build our own
Start
new
from
waka,
scratch a little bit.
build our own new boat and do our thing.
Yeah,
you know,
exactly.
for the good of the planet, for the good of the people, and then you know we can create something good away from that system that's just on a roller coaster ride of its own. That's
Yeah.
not going anywhere good, really.
Yeah. I think that's where my hope comes from, because in a way, if you think about it as a story or as a game or a play,
Yeah,
then how would we have gone from where we were 20 years ago, where everything was very comfortable and we had like mobile phones and we had internet and everything was great, and we were like, oh, this is really cool, at someone's expense, but they were over there and we didn't have to look at them.
yeah,
And we were all very comfy. It's like a dog or a cat's not going to move unless we force it.
yeah,
And so for something to change and shift when people are comfortable, something has to
yeah.
happen.
That's right.
And in a way, I feel like we've all met each other now. Like the world's all connected. You know, there are a few tribes that aren't connected, but basically the world's all connected.
Yeah,
The next step for us to evolve feels like for us to become the world, like one world. To
Yeah.
become Gaia, to become,
Yeah.
what's the name in Maori?
Oh, Papa Tuan.
Yeah.
Yeah, Tuan. Yeah, beautiful.
And
Yeah.
just to be connected
Yes.
as one.
Yeah.
And to stop having these walls and boundaries and borders and all of
Yeah.
that, to be one globe, one community. And the only two things really that can make that happen would be a UFO attack
Yeah.
or a environmental disaster,
Yeah.
because it will take us to all go, hang on, this is our planet,
Yeah.
for us to become one planet.
Yeah.
And so, you know, as soon as we don't have any aliens attacking us, I think the environmental situation is the situation. That is the next step in our evolution.
Yeah.
Either we'll destroy ourselves, but probably we won't.
Yeah.
And we'll come out of this going, well, that was rubbish. And then we'll evolve into something better, you know, and we've chucked AI into the mix as well, and who knows what's going to happen with that. But like,
well, there's a lot. Yeah. I think, that's definitely, and I think that is definitely seems to be the projection. But I take that with caution too, because, you know, I mean, it's interesting because now I know in New Zealand and America, we're very far right government. So it's like, drill or mine, whatever it is. And so
I think New Zealand had a progressive government. Was that woman?
Jacinda Ardern. No, she left.
Oh no.
Yeah, and but they weren't good. They weren't good either. They were just puppets of the World Economic Forum,
and just them,
this is it. It's from one to another, and it was just and that divided our country so
much.
We've
got Labour in now,
and it was just
appalling.
And it's almost going to one extreme right to the other extreme. There's no middle ground, and
that's really where most people want to be. Is the middle ground's the safer place.
And
it keeps everyone sort of happy.
Yeah,
because we can't be too. I mean, I'd love to be, you know, way more left and all the rest of it, but I also appreciate that doesn't work for everybody.
No, that's it. You just got to have a balance for if you're going to be at that level, especially. You know, I don't know, because like within New Zealand, things just go. Nothing ever gets done because like Labour government wanted to do this, and so they changed the education system, changed the health system, changed this, changed that, and all the people working in the public services are like, oh no, it's all restructuring, people were laid off, and it's quite stressful, and now this whole education system is changing, and then the next government comes in and he's like, no, we're going to change it back, we're not doing this, and then so the people working, they're never actually able to do what they want to do.
No.
And everyone's getting burnt out and tired and exhausted and stressed out. And it's just politics. It's so flippy-floppy.
Yeah.
And there's no stability. And it's just at the whim, like, of America. A lot of, or Britain and New Zealand. We're just one of the Five Eyes nation following along like a little puppy dog.
Yeah, totally.
You know? And it's just disgusting, actually, what goes on. So, yeah.
Everyone's burnt out. I think it was something I noticed at Glastonbury, like even the young people. Because it wasn't just because I'm older. It was like no one had the energy to go out and party and dance the way we used to.
Yeah.
It's like everyone's tired.
Yeah.
It's so tired.
Yeah.
They're all like, what are we doing?
Yeah.
I think the pandemic probably encouraged that as well, because we all stopped.
Yeah.
And then it was like, oh, what? We've got to start up again and we've got to work that speed again.
Yeah.
For you.
Yeah.
I don't really wonder that.
Yeah, absolutely.
I quite liked it when the deer were walking through London. That was quite nice.
Yeah. Oh, a bit. Yeah.
If you enjoy this podcast, then please consider supporting me on Patreon, which is patreon.com/Jolie Rose. I love doing this and it's a joy to be making this podcast for you. And if you enjoy it and you come back every week, then maybe you would consider supporting me with £3 a month, which is basically just a really lovely thank you. Or if you're able to afford more, then you get the videos for the podcast. This is a particularly good video because this week, me and Roz were in the same location, and so it's a video of the two of us actually chatting to each other. Glastonbury last week, the sound clips that you hear are actually videos, so you can see videos of Glastonbury. So it is a bit extra, and that's £9 a month. So it's up to you. It's one of those things that if you're able to do that, it would be incredible, and I'd really appreciate it. And it means that everybody else gets a free podcast. So if you can't afford to support me, no problem at all. Tell people about it, spread the word, just and keep showing up, review it, star it, all that kind of thing. So I really appreciate you being here. I love making this for you. So huge kisses and love to all of you, and to my patrons. I really appreciate you supporting this so that everyone gets to enjoy the podcast. I will be holding a moon ceremony on Thursday night, and I'm also going to be at Boomtown this year. So if anyone is at Boomtown, do come and find us at the Luna Coven venue. It's a secret venue, but you can find it. We're in Old Town. There's a moon symbol for it, and there's normally a pentagram on our door. I don't know if it definitely will be this year, but it will either be a pentagram or a moon. So come and see me at that, and also I'll be in the opening ceremony on the Origin stage. And then if you're in Suffolk or East Anglia, come to Kentwell Hall for the reenactment that's in August, which will be the week after Boomtown. So come and see me there, and you can come and see me being a Tudor. Highly recommend coming along to Kentwell Hall. It's incredible. It's in Long Melford in Suffolk near Sudbury, and there's a few hundred people living as Tudors, and you get to experience Tudor life. We are all staying in character, and it's one of the only reenactments in the world that's done in that way, where we're like first person in character reenactors, and it's just bloody magical. It's magical. So do come if you can. And otherwise, let's just get on with listening to this awesome chat with Roz. So on with the show.
Alrighty.
Another card.
Alrighty, let's go for this one here. Ooh.
What's that? Futility.
Futility.
I mean, that kind of feels like also what we're talking about. Like, what feels futile? I mean, do you ever feel like you lose hope? How do you keep hope? What is it that you use to keep hopeful?
I keep hope. I am actually still really hopeful. I really, because I just see the good in people.
Yeah.
And like, say, New Zealand being the example, like I see at our national government level where it's just, you know, whatever. I don't even want to go there because it's just a lot of bollocks, really. But at the local government level, or the local people on the ground are awesome. The majority are real beautiful. They really care what they're doing. And I think that's where you could make change at your local council, your local government.
Yeah.
And because you can work with the people and be on the ground. But yeah, and I work in Christchurch with loads of different people from like, you know, city council, health district to, you know, homeless people to corporate groups to young children to university students. So you get to see all these different people from different walks of life.
And what are you doing? What is it that you do?
I teach permaculture.
Right.
And I look after this project in our city centre, which was part of the Christchurch city rebuild after all the earthquakes.
Okay.
And a lot of the city was destroyed in those earthquakes. And then the city council had some public consultations wanting to see what people wanted to see with the rebuild.
Oh, wow.
And everyone, all these organisations and people came together to say they wanted to see food resilience because it's so important. They saw that if our supply chains go down and the food can't get in, then we need to have local food growing. Exactly. This is one of our most important things. If we look at what we need water and we need food, shelter, you know, our basic needs. And we've got to the point in the world where we're all relying on other countries for our basic needs. And we've lost our own, like, you know, our own production within our countries to support ourselves.
Yeah.
But that's what was great. This is one great thing about, I guess, like you were saying with natural disasters or when things aren't so comfortable, people start to think differently. And so Christchurch was a great opportunity for, or the earthquake was a great opportunity for Christchurch to, you know, change. So yeah, with those public consultations, some permaculture designers got together and designed a food forest, and everyone brainstormed this amazing idea, and they put forward the proposal and won the site for like prime inner city land, which is just next to like the big cathedral square and the town hall. We're right there in the city centre on the river. And we have this beautiful food forest, community garden, urban farm where we grow veggies and sell it at a market every Wednesday. And we've got this building being built with a green roof, compost toilets, solar panels, passive solar heating. It's permaculture design in action, you know?
Yeah.
And so it's an incredible project, and we just have loads of volunteers. That's why we get all the corporate groups and schools come for education or volunteering, and all groups in between. And we work with like youth who, unemployed youth. The government will pay them to do courses with us.
Oh, wow. Cool.
And so it's just very varied, and we're right in town, so you've got a real mainstream audience of people, and we're around like businesses and all that, and the amount of people who just are so thankful for it to be there. They're always walking through like, oh wow, this is so beautiful, it's so great, you know. It's an amazing opportunity to have an example like that in the city centre.
That's really exciting.
Yeah, but that's come out of the earthquakes. But But so yeah, I get to work, and yeah, I just see within all these groups, I just see really awesome people.
Yeah.
With big
People
hearts
are awesome.
that really care
Yeah.
about the land, and
Yeah.
a lot of people probably feel overwhelmed and they don't know what they can do, but they do care.
Yeah.
And
it's the thing I loved about
Yeah.
living here. Like, this is what I meant about meeting all the different types of people, because I loved living in Brighton. It was amazing. But it was just one type of people.
Yeah.
And we were all on the same page. And it was an amazing page to be on, because it was the most like out there, you know, liberal, inclusive, you know, when everyone goes on about pronouns and all that kind of thing. Like, they were literally at the forefront of like, this is, I'm going to make a stand for being able to be a they, or all that sort of thing. And that was wonderful. But then to move somewhere where I feel like we've got an exact cross section of society, you've got everyone from men to billionaires, like hanging out in the Mermaid together.
Yeah, I know.
And I'm there behind the bar watching like the big man argue with a millionaire about how to train a dog. This is mad. Why else in the world did you see this?
Yeah.
And I love it.
It's so good.
It's so cool, because you're like challenged by meeting and talking to people that you wouldn't have ever interacted with.
Yeah.
But that's what's so wonderful, because it just, it does make you realise that people are all the same, and that and are lovely and fun and awesome. And, you know,
there's a lot more good out there.
Yeah,
and I think
really
there's a few, you know, really greedy, you know, bad people out there.
But even,
I think the majority of the
I think
people,
probably even on a day-to-day basis, they're probably still people you get on with. You know, like, I think people have moments when they do things that you're like, I don't like that you just did that, but I also have had times where I've hung out with you and had a laugh with you, you know.
Yeah, that's it.
People still need love on the whole. I mean, really don't know about psychopaths, but but I think they're loved and adored, don't they, and worshipped. So everyone needs it.
Yeah, that's
it's
it.
good to be exposed to more difference.
Yeah, I think
And
so.
it's interesting. Interesting.
Oh, they are.
Don't always just be talking to the same people that are agreeing with everything. You know?
No, that's right. And having different ideas, you know, it's what makes it diversity, you know, all of this, like, you know, interesting. And
well, it's monoculture is a problem wherever it is, isn't it?
Yeah, that's right.
If
we
you're
don't
doing it
want
with your
to.
crops, then it makes you weak. And if you do it with culture, it makes you weak.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Because I think that's the thing, we try and make everything a bit beige so that it's not scary and weird.
Yeah.
But that makes us weak, because then if something scary and weird comes out of the left and suddenly, you know, does something you weren't expecting, then you don't know how to behave, what to do.
Yeah, that's
Whereas
right.
the more you're like open to things and interact with difference, the more you realise that we're not that different, and it's not weird and scary.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
So, you know, people aren't weird and scary. Even the weirdest, scariest person you met is like a really normal person who has like milk and 2 sugars in their tea.
Yeah. I mean, this is right. Everyone, for sure.
Awesome.
Yeah.
That's really cool you're doing that. It would be really cool to get you to come and like share your knowledge and wisdom with us when we're doing the Island Plan stuff.
Oh, yeah.
You can,
I would love to.
Talk about the gardens that you did over here, because you did.
Yeah, I designed the stocks garden, the permaculture garden there.
Yeah.
And here at Maison Pomme as
Yeah.
well. Yeah.
And there was the award-winning one that you did with Jude behind the Monnery.
Behind the Monnery. Oh, yeah.
For
Oh, that
SEM?
was, for SEM. Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. Yeah, I worked there too. Yeah. That was actually, one of my first big job, food production job here.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was for SEM when we had the market gardens here. And we had a big fruit cage and all the greenhouses.
loads
We were
of awards,
producing
didn't you?
loads. Yeah, we did. We won awards and
I'm so sad that's.
Yeah, I know it's a show. I haven't looked at it yet. Last time I saw it was
No,
very
it's just
overgrown.
brambles.
Yeah, but yeah, I guess, and like that, those awards that we won, it was great, and it definitely deserved it for all the gardens. But and that's one thing, I do. That's one thing too with, like I was going to say, with the New Zealand political thing, the greenwashing thing going on. I feel like some of those awards that were won at that stage was a bit of greenwashing, because you could see something going on somewhere and then it's like, oh, don't look at this rubber and plastic and all that. And I see that happening a lot, like in New Zealand and in lots of places, with like smart cars. Those electric cars are really being promoted in New Zealand as the clean, green alternative.
But it's like lithium batteries.
Yeah, and all the batteries and just still the infrastructure and all of that sort of thing. And and the metals, like with all this, like at the moment our whānau and my family in the Cook Islands are really, really involved with protesting against the deep sea mining.
Right. Okay.
Because all the ships are in the water ready to mine up these nodules that are on the bottom of the deep ocean.
Right.
And because they're full of, precious minerals that are used for smart technology and for these smart cities and all that sort of thing that they're trying to implement. Like New Zealand is one of the World Economic Forum's test pilots for some of this,
Right.
And so, and then they're trying to sell it in the light of, because we're going to save the planet this way.
Yeah.
Because, you get all this technology and then you can see how much power you're using. You can see everything will be more efficient and all this.
Yeah.
But actually, I see it as so much greenwashing because the fact that we should actually be consuming less, not consuming more.
Yeah.
And you hear Bill Gates, someone like this, talking about online. I've seen interviews with him saying, no, we need to consume more because this is the way we're going to save the world because we get all these smart cities and the rich countries will pay for the poor countries to have all this infrastructure, but really they're going to make, more like surveillance cities.
Yeah.
And they're taking, and why are we mining all these new precious metals when we're not even learning to recycle what we've already got in piles and piles of waste?
Yeah.
But this deep sea thing is a really big thing right now. And my auntie, who's the president of this organisation, it's like the an environmental organisation in the Cook Islands.
Yeah.
Te Puakaria, and also Kia Taireo, which is our family organisation.
Yeah.
And she's been over in Jamaica at the international conference for deep sea for the deep sea mining.
Yeah.
And it's just about to go. I think it's July the 30th. Is it July the 30th? No, July the 25th. No, it is July the 30th. Sorry. All around the world, people are going to have banners about hashtag. Please think deeply before we start mining these deep sea nodules.
Trump that's just given permission for that to stop?
Yeah, he's like, go, do it, do it.
Yeah.
And like a lot of countries are saying, because actually what they are intending to do, and there's a lot of boats, they're all there on the sea waiting to go, like in the Clarion-Clipperton zone, which is up east of the States, and in the Cook Islands is a big place. So this is why we're at the forefront of this too. So they go in and they'll use these big vacuum cleaners to suck up all these nodules. But along with that, they're sucking up all the silt from the bottom of the ocean and all these amazing worms that are like the bottom feeders. And anything that falls to the ocean, they break it down and then they are food. They're just part of the food chain, which is a very important part of the food chain.
Yeah.
And also they have, scientists have found that these nodules produce deep sea oxygen.
Right.
And they also habitats for all these amazing animals and creatures and corals that we have never known before.
Yeah. And aren't they not carbon based? They're like sulfur based. So we're all carbon based.
Yeah.
But around these nodules, because they're like pouring out sulfur or whatever it is they're pouring out. The things that are around them are sulfur based, not carbon based.
Oh, possibly. I don't know. But
so
right.
It's something else from David Attenborough, but yeah.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah.
They're
Definitely.
non-carbon based life forms because they're life forms that are formed around this.
And they've taken
chemical.
thousands and thousands of years to develop or whatever. And so they can suck them all out and destroy the seabed. Then they process it. But then they have to wash them using chemicals.
Yeah.
And then that byproduct of the chemical washing water back into the sea, along with all the silt, which they, distribute into the ocean probably about mid of, half deep. Which then creates a lot of like... bad water conditions, so then the fish are like out of there because they don't want to be in all that silt, especially when it's got toxic chemicals in it.
Yeah.
And then all those nodules are going to be shipped off. They're not going to come to the Cook Islands to give them money. They're going to be shipped off somewhere to be processed. And but the whole, them sucking all up is really noisy. So it's like metal, these little nodules going up a metal pipe. So imagine the noise for all the animals. Like this is all whale migration route, dolphins, all of this. There's so much beautiful sea life that go around there. And just everything about it is like, and knowing, and also like the ocean is one of our biggest carbon storage sinks. And so hold on, aren't we meant to be looking after the planet now?
Yeah.
And you want the smart technology to save our world, but you're going to go do something that could really damage. This is our deep sea. Yeah, we should really not be playing with this. And we should be learning to recycle what we've already got out of the ground.
Yeah.
That's just piling and piling up.
Yeah.
As e-waste and all that sort of thing before we start taking things we don't understand what the consequence, because there's always going to be a consequence. Surely we've Should have learned that by now. So yeah, hopefully it will be stopped. But they definitely looks like, full steam ahead on that one.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
but you're all fighting. So to look out for that hashtag and.
Yeah, and if anyone wants to go to the coast, like I think I'll make a sign when we go for the full moon.
Yeah,
we can just take photos and I'll just post it at the time.
Yeah,
I'll make a big banner about it.
That's good.
And maybe tell other people. I think there's someone in Jersey who's helping to organise it. They're keen to get in touch as well.
Right.
So they want as many people around the world with these banners, take photos, videos to post it, because I think it must be on the 30th of July, the final hearing. Oh, yeah, in Jamaica at the International Deep Sea Authority,
Yeah.
So so it's all going on there, but yeah.
And it's not futile. That's the thing. I think people often think, oh, there's nothing we can do, and it's beyond hope. But it's these small. This isn't a small battle, but it's fighting the battles. You have to keep fighting the battles.
And our voice does matter because it really does.
Yeah.
And it's like my auntie. She does so much amazing work, and now she's getting to go all over the Pacific to talk about this. To work with the scientists. She got to speak at this in Jamaica at this international conference on behalf of Indigenous people in the Pacific.
Oh, wow.
And and so she's getting to network and connect, and there are a lot of countries that really back in the no to deep sea mining.
Yeah.
It's just you got people like Trump, and even now New Zealand's behind it because we're just sucking up to Trump.
Yeah.
I guess America. But it's definitely the voice. Yeah, people's voices do matter.
Yeah,
we do have so much power.
Yeah.
We have more power than we realize.
Oh, so much.
But that's why I feel so much hope.
Yeah,
because I think we will come to an awakening. Because I'm a lot like you, seeing life as a journey.
Yeah,
and we've sort of discovered the lands. Now we've discovered the people.
Yeah.
And now we're ready for the next evolution jump when we can actually realize that we're free beings on this land.
Yeah,
all children of this earth.
And
we're all brothers and sisters,
totally.
custodians. Let's look after it for the future. And the more we can disconnect from the broken system,
it's wonderful. Good.
I'll go for this one. Oh la la.
Oh, the Hanged Man. So this one is about surrendering.
Mm-hmm.
So the Hanged Man's surrendering to this awakening, really. So it's they're quite similar colours as well. It's got a similar vibe to it. It's I talked about the vision that I saw at Glastonbury. It's like that other world. And I think that's the thing that separates us from AI. And there's part of me that's is it real? I don't know whether it's real or not, whether it's just what our brain does and where we go to. But yeah, I feel like the thing that I got from having seen that vision came away from that was that it's bigger than this, that this is just the story, like the journey that you just said is this is just the stuff that's happening now. Yeah. But it's bigger than that.
Yeah, definitely.
And what's your relationship to that?
I definitely when you said surrendering, I definitely resonate with that in the way that I feel like I'm very connected to our beautiful earth and I love it, and I feel very surrendering to. It's actually why I don't fear anything or worry about anything, because I really have a great belief in great spirit or something of love and interconnection with the earth. And I think that's always going to live on. We may die, but no, that's right.
We destroy ourselves.
Yeah, well, that's it,
Yeah, we're just a small part of this bigger picture.
This bigger picture, So hopefully we can do something good to help with the next generations. But I definitely, I surrender myself to whatever's going on in the, in the world of.
This world.
Yeah.
The real world.
Beautiful Mother Nature and, that sort of thing. And just want to do what we can to help heal her and bring awareness to how we can care for her. Yeah. And also in doing that, because, what we do to the land, we do to ourselves. So that's why I love permaculture and teaching about soil and healthy eating, because it's not just about looking after the land, but if we do that, then we're healthy bodies and we have healthy minds. And then you've got strong, healthy people and, and then we can be... thinking clearly and seeing what's real and what's not real, things like that. It's also interconnected. So, definitely And I guess if you're feeling overwhelmed and, oh, fuck, it's all crazy and all this war's going on and all that sort of thing, surrendering to something like God, nature, love, whatever you may want to call it, great spirit, just something bigger than us. It's like it's a journey in a cycle. Like there's a saying, the ancestors descend into the growing generations. So it's like the cycle of life that goes on and on.
Say that saying again.
The ancestors descend into the growing generations.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. So, I sort of believe this. So I think just surrendering to what is and whatever we can do positive along the way. Even if it's small things, surely
it's trusting
it will have. Yeah.
Trusting that it's all sort of happening as it's meant to.
Yeah.
Like, whatever's going on, it is what's meant to be going on. It's part of
it, it is
plot that's unfolding.
Exactly.
And to just it's going with the flow, but also knowing that you have power and control within it. So you have agency within it.
Yeah.
But you also are a character within a plot that exists. So it's a bit like being a character in a computer game.
Yeah.
Like you are confined to being within that computer game, but you also can do anything within that game and possibly could rewrite the code. So that's something that we might,
yes, well, we can. That's what I'm very into rewriting the code. Yeah, we got to rewrite this code. Yeah.
That's kind of what the nonsense and the chaos means.
Yeah.
It's it is nonsense and it is chaos, but it's so much that actually anything really is possible, and to really believe that, because our inner world does create the outer world.
It does.
Our thoughts do create our world.
Yeah, 100%.
I mean, even just I dropped a glass the other day and I was angry. There's no room left for us to have glasses. And it was completely an accident, but I picked the glass up and it was like, we've got no room for this glass. And then I dropped it. In my inner world, I was like, I kind of made that happen. But I also didn't mean to do it. But it's that's just a tiny example of what we do. But what we're thinking happens, it manifests in the outer world all the time.
100%,
but that even includes really far out ideas, you can fully believe and go for complete love and peace and unity and all fighting, then deep sea mining, and to be it's possible. It's totally possible to do that.
Yeah.
And you can change the world around you.
Yeah, definitely. And I mean, even if it didn't work out, so you weren't successful, but at least you've been a voice and you've said something, which is better than saying nothing. Because if we're just to stay silent and let these things go, then what are we? We're just Muppets and puppets, it's scary. We're going to be see what's happening and hold people accountable and at least speak up for our earth and resources and people that don't have a voice, because there's a lot of people out there that don't have. I guess I feel very privileged. I guess we're very lucky because we have freedom of movement. We have freedom, a lot of freedom, and there's a lot of people out there that aren't, unfortunately, in that same position. So, especially having their lands taken or polluted by, big corporations and all that sort of thing. And if they try and speak up, they get killed because they can be, there's all those things. And so I always feel I have this place of privilege that I get to be able to have a voice or move about and speak or whatever. So I feel like it's important to do that.
I don't think people ever see where they are in the privilege pyramid.
Yeah.
It's you can see the privilege of the people above you, but I think it's really hard to appreciate where you are with the people below you.
Yeah.
You're just blind to it. You can always look up and point the finger up.
Yeah, yeah.
And be like, you're doing this, you're doing that. But it's but also,
there's
so many people beneath you.
Yeah.
That would do anything to have your existence.
Absolutely. Just being able to move. There's so many things for a woman. In some places you're not allowed to be educated or drive or simple things, eh? Yeah. And we're very lucky to be able to do whatever we want to do, really.
Yeah.
We have,
freedom.
Yeah. So I think it's important for us to use that and also to acknowledge it. If you're in a place where you are able to be free, I guess you have to know it yourself, because you could be kept confined by your bitterness towards someone, then you're not free or whatever that may be that's trapping you down,
Absolutely.
So, but if you can get into that place of freedom and like you say, manifest the reality we want to see.
Yeah.
And then speak about it, imagine it, think about it, talk about it, make it happen.
Yeah. You have to imagine it.
Yeah, you do. And we have to keep going with that. Yeah.
So that was the amazing Roz Rolls. I'm just so pleased that she had time while in Sark to make the podcast with me. I would really like to get involved in creating the Sark plan and visioning and dreaming what the future of this island might be. And it's just all very exciting at the moment. I just am excited about the possibilities of what we could create in a world that is otherwise just gone mad. And so let's do something incredible and special and beautiful here, where we're all on the same page and we are all inspired and care about what's going on. I always think the two things that are most special about Sark is our biodiversity of community and of nature. Like, I don't want there to just be one type of person here. I like the fact that it's a perfect cross-section of society. I think it's really important. I think it means that we are more resilient because of that. And also I think it's almost like I feel like there should be case studies or some place of scientific research, because it's so unique to have such an array and variety and all of society to some extent represented. You know, it's not all white. It's not all straight. It's got a mix there. For 500 people, I'd say it's probably one of the most diverse communities I've ever been in. And we're all here and we're all getting on all right because humans are humans, and it's incredible. So I think preserving that and preserving our natural, beautiful, stunning island is key. And we just need to work out how we do that. And that we're all in agreement and all supportive of it, and it feels right for all of us, and then take it from there. It just means that we'll then be sort of protected from people coming in going, what Sark needs, which does make everyone's bumholes tighten. It's just like, don't tell Sark what Sark needs. I just think it's exciting for us to create something ourselves that we're all excited and inspired by. But anyway, that's enough time saying the word excited. That's me done. I shall speak to you next week. And until then, see you anon.